I'm doing that carnivore diet. I've been doing it for about a month now. Um, Bloody ribeye, my favourite. I'm doing it for about a month and feeling loads better. Uh, my life is still a shit show. I'm still on and off drinking. I thought I'd come to you on another live stream, this time sober. Uh, Partly because it's going to be more coherent, and also just to kind of show a bit of contrast. Because I don't know if you saw the previous live stream I did. If you did, I can only apologise. Nobody should have to see that. What a shit show. I really need to get this drinking thing under control once and for all. Um, I'm certainly not as bad as I have been at times. It's kind of on and off. I'm going to start going back to these meetings. Well, I have been. I've got one tomorrow, a men's group where we, as well as obviously drugs and alcohol and the coming off of, we discuss men's stuff. Like ladders and scaffolding, crap like that. I'm joking. Relationships, anxiety, stress, the works. So yeah, wish me well, if you will. I can do it. I've done it before. I was once sober for about 5, maybe 6 months, and then shit hit the fan, and I started drinking again. Got sober again, and I was sober for about 2 or 3 months, kind of on and off. Maybe 4, on and off, and then shit hit the fan again, and yeah, kind of. Thing is, alcohol. It's been like my coping mechanism, like when I get stressed and stuff. So I'll drink, and then what that typically does, I mean, not always, but more often than not, is it leads to more problems. I fall out with people, I cause problems, I lose jobs, I break up with bands, I break up with girlfriends, I fall out with family, I commit crimes, I break shit, I waste money, which in turn makes me more stressed. So I'll drink more, and it's kind of like a vicious cycle. I'm currently trying to escape. Oh, by the way, Hawaiian baby Woodrow seeds. If you know, you know. They arrived today. Um, Cut a long story short, they contain a substance known as LSA, which is kind of a weaker cousin of LSD, and they're very insightful little bastards. These arrived today. I've not had any yet. I'll probably will in a few days or whatever. Because I remember last time I took them, it was really sort of, like I say, insightful and quite revealing in like a really positive, sort of reassuring way. And I didn't drink for a while after last time I took them, maybe a good few weeks. So I'm hoping they can just give me a bit of inspiration. Perfectly legal, by the way, at least in the UK. Hawaiian baby Woodrow seeds. You can buy them from any, I don't know, seed shop, whatever you call it. Place that sells like seeds and stuff. I've got 50 there, which is certainly, I mean, 3 to 5 is like a mild dose. 6, 7, 8, you're kind of getting hefty. I'd say 10 would be a very strong dose, and obviously that's 50. So I considered having just one a day, called microdosing, but that's kind of silly. If you're gonna do it, do it. I'm certainly not gonna do all 50 in one go. But hey, I might do a live stream with once I get some in my system in a few days. That could be interesting. We'll see how insightful or not I am. Oh yeah, the carnivore diet. It's great stuff, man. It's just at first I was quite reluctant to it. I thought it was just a bit of a knee-jerk cultural reaction to the years of vegan propaganda. That the pendulum had kind of swung too far the other way, and it's probably a bit of a silly fad. But I've looked into it a lot, and enough to the point where I decided to give it a go myself. And I think it's great. I feel great, generally. Still stressed, still got these, you know, life to deal with. This bloody life to deal with. But all in all, yeah, I feel a lot better. I feel more alert, more healthy, really. Um, it's basically steak, salmon, and eggs. That's basically my version of it. I dabble with bananas and broccoli because you know, I'm not entirely committed. I'll be honest with you. It's been about a month. The carnivore diet. Um, Eggs. You gotta love eggs, man. They contain literally every nutrient your body needs apart from vitamin C. And apparently, the only reason we need vitamin C so much is to counteract the carbs, which aren't present on the carnivore diet. So eggs are pretty much they're a superfood, nature's multivitamin, no doubt. Um, you can't beat eggs. Fucking brilliant. Fried in butter, of course. Otherwise, it'd be olive oil, potentially coconut oil. Um, Obviously, no seed oils. I don't know if you're up to date with this revelation. Seed oils are pretty much the cause of, I don't want to say the majority of modern illnesses and ailments and obesity and things, but certainly a hell of a lot of them. Behind a lot of inflammation is the hidden seed oils. If you look at kind of stuff like frozen foods, like frozen fish or pizza or fucking whatever, have a look at the back on the ingredients, at least in the UK. Without fail, on all of them, you'll see rapeseed oil, uh, palm oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, at least one of them or a combination of them. It turns out they're poison. Rapeseed oil was initially it was an engine lubricant. That's why it was invented. And how the hell it snuck into almost all the foods is a question with some quite potentially conspiratorial answers. But it's fucking everywhere. But it's not in steak unless you cook in it. Same with eggs. Same with salmon, and the occasional bananas and broccoli. I know that's not carnivore, but like I said, I'm not religious about it. I'm just I'm giving it a good shot. You know, I'm still ultimately dabbling. Um, you know, my therapist says I've got a preoccupation with revenge. We'll see about that. See, we do jokes on this show. We do jokes, um, and we do just I don't know really, just me talking about nothing in particular. Finally got a housemate. I'm living in a shared house. I've been on my own all month, and we finally got a fella who's moved in. Um, he's got a pet lizard. I don't like lizards, but you know, whatever. Keep it in your own room. It's not, you know, some people have lizards. None of my business, is it? We can still be mates. Some people are gay. Fine. Just don't keep it in your own room. You know, don't do it in my room, and we can be mates. That's all fine. Um, he signed the tenancy agreement about a week ago, and then I didn't see him all week, so I assumed he'd backed out or something, or he wasn't staying here. The other night, I got a knock on the door about 2 in the morning. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, what's this? 2 in the morning. Heavy knock on the door. I thought, fuck's sake, man. This just sounds like trouble. I knew I hadn't ordered takeaway. So I went, and it was him. He said, oh, hey, he said, have they changed the locks? He said, I can't get in. I said, no, brother. I said, sorry, it was me. My key was in the door. I assumed you were never moving back around. He said, anyway, yeah, come in. Obviously, you live here, don't you? So he stepped inside, stepped into the building. He had his girlfriend with him, and I was chatting to him about the furnishing that we still need for the house. And I noticed in my sort of peripheral, his girlfriend did that thing that, you know, kind of acknowledged me and smiled, kind of. And I sort of ignored her, not consciously, but because I was still talking to the guy. And then out the corner of my eye, I sort of noticed she did it again. So I felt rude. So I went, all right, I acknowledged it, did the thing. I said, what's your name, by the way? She said, Christina. I said, Christina. I said, Dean, nice to meet you. Definitely would, by the way, 10-10. I don't know how the hell that just fell out of my mouth. Definitely would, by the way. 10-10. I mean, it's not offensive, is it? But it's not fucking appropriate. And I don't even know if I meant it. I don't even think I meant. I mean, she's a 6.5, you know. Nothing wrong with her. Nothing wrong with her at all. But 10-10 definitely would. Anyway, it's not appropriate. Luckily for me and for all involved, really, the guy looked at me like he was about to burst out laughing. And he's like, well, you know, like, what the hell, man? And I'm like, you know, it's freaking, I'm, you know, just saying, happy for you both, you know, it's, no, you know, it's all good, isn't it? Um, and he goes, anyway, he said, we're gonna need some carpets in this front room, man. And, blah, 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 blah. And he just, you know, he brushed over it. I think the guy's got a sense of humour, which is important. And yeah, he's a cool guy. He's got a lizard. Speaking of lizards, the Blue Origin thing, the Blue Origin just smacking the mouth with Katy Perry and crew. The space flight, which was not a space flight. I spoke about this in the very first live stream I did, which I think somebody told me I had to take down because I said things that I really shouldn't have said in there. I can't actually remember what that was. I'll have to ask her. But anyway, yeah, the Blue Origin thing, I thought I'd quickly cover it because it's not a space flight. That's the thing that's, I think, there's two things that are pissing people off with it. One is they're calling it a space flight and they didn't go into space. They took a parabolic flight, aka vomit comet ride, 60 feet in the air. Then once in free fall, it simulates weightlessness for a few seconds. That's what a parabolic flight does, and that's what they did. They went, did I say 60 feet in the air? I meant 60 miles, which is not space. It's well within the Earth's atmosphere. They're not in orbit. They're not astronauts. They just took a glorified fairground ride, and now they're coming back acting like philosophers on the fucking news and shit, talking about like, oh, Katy Perry, oh, I'm just so full of love. And you know, they patronise everybody like they've been to different worlds, man. And it's kind of embarrassing, very cringe, very fake and gay. And it's so fake and gay. I almost think it's. I mean, I could be wrong. This is just my sort of paranoid mind at work, but it's almost like they've done such a fake shit so-called space flight, and then they're so annoying after it and stuff to get the public going, oh, this is bollocks, this isn't space flight, no. So that to set the stage for Elon Musk stepping in a few weeks or months down the road with his version, and everyone going, oh yeah, now this is space travel. That's what I call space travel, which is a whole other ball game, a whole other kettle of fish. Elon Musk, he's not taking anybody to Mars. Nobody's going to Mars. In 1952, I believe it was, I could be wrong, Werner von Braun, the one of the co-founders of NASA, Nazi rocket scientist fella, he wrote a book in the 50s called Project Mars, a book in which a character named Elon led humanity to Mars. What are the odds? It's all a script, folks. It's all a fucking script. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. But hey, it's fascinating to watch. The world is the ultimate spectacle. Huh? What's more interesting? What's more fascinating than life? As fake and gay as it may be at times. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really have too much else to say, really. I guess I'll wrap it up. What do you call a bloke with a spade on his head? Doug. What do you call a bloke without a spade on his head? Douglas. A bloke with ham on his head? Ahmed. A bloke with loads of ham on his head? Mohammed. We do jokes on this show. What can I tell you? Milk thistle. That's what I can tell you. If you drink, even if you don't drink. If you take seed oils, which are horrible for the liver, whoever you are, wherever you are, milk thistle. No, I don't work for this company. It's not an advert. Milk thistle, along with black seed oil, are great for repairing the liver. So just thought I'd pass that on because it's important information, right? Take care of yourselves, you fuckers. I love you. Don't do anything I would. Mwah. Take it easy. Speak to you soon. The spinning thing. So I'll try again. As I mentioned earlier, I got the Hawaiian baby woodrose seeds. Last time I had them was probably about 5-6 years ago. They contain LSA, which is like a weaker version of LSD. 3-4 is a fairly mild dose. Up to 8 can be kind of severe, and anything past 8, you're in deep water. I had 4 a couple of hours ago. And it's starting to take effect. A little more than I expected, to be honest. I don't know if you can see I'm sweating rather profusely. One thing I like about LSA, or just psychedelics in general, is they're almost the opposite of addictive. They kind of take you on the trip, you have your insights, usually somewhat profound, and then it leaves you alone, and you want to leave it alone. One thing I've noticed just in the past couple of hours is it completely knocks out the desire to drink alcohol. That I can tell you in a huge way, which for me certainly is very useful. Hopefully I can kind of glean that feeling of how silly it is to drink alcohol and kind of move forward with that. But at least at the moment, yeah, the idea just feels like, why would you do that? What joy has that brought you in the past? Like, really? None. Has it brought with it any destruction? Lots. So, yeah. Like I said, I've only had 4, which I consider to be a fairly mild dose. The first time we had this, I was 19. We were in Manchester, and we bought them from what at the time was known as a head shop. Sounds kind of rude, but it was like where they sold legal highs, and we got these Hawaiian baby woodrose seeds. Soaked them in water overnight, and then we drank, whatever, the water. I can't remember how many seeds we did that were in the water, but there was, a fair amount. There was 4 of us that did it. And I remember the girl at the time that was with us saying, this is not going to do anything to me. I don't believe it. Psychedelics, what, tripping, what, feeling like I'm connected to all things and like all the rest of it. So I don't think so. Anyway, she was by far the most effective, which was quite amusing and very adorable. She said, these aren't going to touch me. Anyway, she drank the thing. And about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, she was in my mate's room going like this. I feel like I'm flying. That's not the purpose of, well, at least not for me, not at the minute. I haven't bought these to get, by the way, it's 100% legal, by the way, YouTube and everybody else. Hawaiian baby woodrose seeds in the UK, perfectly legal. You can buy them from all good botanical, is that the word, botanical? All good seed retailers, not seed oil retailers. Unless it's black seed oil, because that's actually good for you. But I've covered all that. I need some inspiration. I need some spiritual intervention, shall we say. I'm still struggling with the alcohol situation. As I mentioned in the previous live stream, like I'll drink alcohol as a way to deal with life. and then I get pissed, and then I make decisions that make life worse, which makes me more stressed, which makes me need more alcohol to deal with it, blah, 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 blah. Vicious cycle. And so I'm looking for some kind of psychedelic intervention that can really kind of sort of hammer home the importance of sobriety. I know it's a funny word to use when you're on LSA, but like I said, psychedelics aren't drugs. It's not. It's really not the same sort of thing. And unless you've had psychedelics before, if you have, then you know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, you'll think I just sound crazy, which is understandable and fine. Um, but yeah, it's useful. Like I said on the last thing, they're very insightful little buggers are these LSA seeds, these Hawaii Baby Woodrow seeds. Very introspective and I'm starting to feel quite vulnerable, to be completely honest, in a nice way. Just saying, like I'm sweating a lot. I'm starting to feel a little sick. One of the symptoms usually is you can vomit, and then afterwards whoa, that's when it kind of takes full effect. The first time we did it in Manchester, that's what I remember, is we all vomited. And then within about 5 minutes after that, that's when Gene was flying. But anyway, yeah, I'm not doing it to get out of my mind. I'm not doing it to fucking see fucking Lucy in the sky with diamonds and shit. I'm doing it because it's, potentially beneficial. And I'm at a stage in my life where I could kind of do with some kind of spiritual intervention. Comment. Man, you have good clips in your channel. Thanks, buddy. I know. You're very welcome. And thank you. Yeah. I mean, most of this channel, I'll be honest, is not down to me. I don't deserve the credit. It's just like stuff I've sourced from different parts of the internet that I think is very interesting. They're very insightful as to the unfair funfair that we call life. None of it's down to me. Even the music and the little jokes and little comedic little bits and that I've done aren't down to me. Yeah, they come through me and stuff, but I don't own words. I don't own melodies. I mean, the notes, the scales, the chords, they pre-existed long before me. I'm just restructuring them in a way that's advantageous or connects with what I want to express. I didn't invent anything. There's nothing new under the sun, as they say. There certainly isn't. So I don't take credit for anything. All glory to God, and I say that completely unironically. I do believe in God. Somebody was asking me today, "Are you religious?" And I'd have to say currently no. I don't identify with that word because I don't identify with any particular religion. But I certainly believe in God. 100%. It's the old, either everything came from something or everything came from nothing. If it came from something, that something is what we call God. If everything came from nothing, then I'm sorry, but you've completely lost your mind. Only nothing can come from nothing, right? It's kind of basic 101 stuff. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. The reason they don't want to integrate it and internalize it and believe it per se is because it kind of implies a level of responsibility, dare I say duty, and that terrifies people, including and especially at times myself. So I get it. I'm sweating a lot. I think I'm gonna have one more. Like I say, I had 4 a couple of hours ago, hour and a half maybe. So it's still not completely finished, but I'm gonna have just one more. And then I think we'll call it a night. This is not an advert, by the way. I don't endorse this. I'm not encouraging it. I'm certainly not selling it. Always consult a medical professional before taking the advice from this fucking asshole. But Hawaiian Baby Woodrow seeds, perfectly legal in the UK. It's kind of like a milder version of LSD, basically. And you can control the dosage, and that's what I like as well, because if you take a tab of LSD acid, you never know what you're going to get. It might be completely blast you to the fucking moon, or it might blast you straight to hell. And you just never really know. But at least with the seeds, you can control the dose. You can have 1 or 2 and feel a little bit, woo, marshmallow shoe now. 3, 4, a bit more insightful. 5, 6, whoa, and then whatever you want after that. Another important thing is to remove, I believe they call it the husk. I like to call it the pith, just because it reminds me of satsumas. I do like satsumas. Not currently while I'm doing the carnivore diet. Will I be having any satsumas, of course, but yeah, they are a nice fruit, man. But yeah, they have this like furry kind of coating, the pith or the husk, and if you remove that, you're less likely to vomit. That's a little tip. Never tried those seeds, but a friend of tried and told something. I don't understand that comment. I never tried those seeds, but a friend of mine tried and told something. Okay. What did he tell? Pray tell. Anything interesting? Anything I should probably bear in mind before I have... I said I was going to have 1 more, didn't I? Well, fuck it, I'm going to have 2 more. It's been a while. It's been a little while. But, yeah, it's time. It's definitely time. Very hallucinogenic. You mean hallucinogenic, right? Oh, certainly. I mean, depends on at a smaller level, it's just kind of introspective and interesting and connecting. But if you take enough of them, it can it certainly rival LSD. Depending on the acid, I mean, it can be stronger than LSD if you take enough of them. I don't intend on getting there, certainly not tonight. I probably shouldn't have even said those 2 extras, but you know, whatever. It's been a while, and what's the worst that can happen? I'll be sick, and I might laugh a bit too much. They don't taste nice. They taste like tree bark. And I'm thinking, how do you know how tree bark tastes? All right, they taste how I imagine tree bark would taste. They taste like wood. I guess the clue's in that wood rose seeds. I don't know. But yeah, they're not supposed to taste nice. Magic mushrooms taste fucking disgusting. There's a theory that to get to the psychedelic benefits of these things, you have to tolerate or overcome the initial disgusting taste. You know, life is all about, especially modern life, it's all about pleasure. People eat for pleasure. They don't think about the nutrients or the benefits or the risk factors. They say, what does it taste like? What does it taste? It's all about taste, flavor, taste, taste, taste. And they're forgetting that food is a drug like any other. It's going to affect your body. It's going to affect your mind. It's going to affect your brain. It's going to affect your longevity. And that's the important thing. And so you can have sugar all day, drink fucking iron brew, and satiate your pleasure senses all day long, and dumb yourself down, become retarded, and die young, you know, like I do with alcohol, for example. Although it doesn't taste nice, that's kind of different, beside the point. Or you can chew down on some shit that tastes like sour wood and experience the benefits. I don't know, it's kind of a loose theory, but here's what it is. Kind of a loose guy. Loose cannon man. No, not really. My mum wanted kids. My mum, definitely wanted kids. She always wanted kids. My dad definitely wanted sex. He always wanted sex. And so here I am, telling the tale. It's not even a fucking tale, is it? But yeah, here I am. I don't know where that came from. I do actually. When I used to do stand-up, when I was in my early 20s, I only did it about 10 times. That was one of my openers. I know it's kind of cringe and that one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my mum always wanted kids. My dad always wanted sex. And here I am trying to figure shit out. Or something like that. That's crap. I wasn't very good. I did like 10 comedy shows, I think like 10 gong shows. 5 I was happy with. And of the other 5, 2 were meh, and 3 were horrible. Soul destroyingly horrible. Very embarrassing. I remember one of them in particular. People shouldn't have let me do it. I was concussed. I'd suffered quite a bad concussion because some fucking guy. I was walking through town drunk, and this massive fella was walking towards me. And I went, "Oh, look at all the muscles," just mocking him like an idiot. And he went, crack, knocked me out. The back of my head hit the concrete. Pool of blood forming behind me. My friends were like, "Fucking hell, he's fucked." Called the police over, and police could see the blood and everything. And they went, "Nah, he's faking it." And they left me for dead. My friends at the time had no phone. They had to borrow somebody else's phone. Eventually got an ambulance, and yeah, I was very concussed. And my brain was all over the place. I woke up one morning and asking my mum, I said, "Where's my wife?" She said, "Dean, you're not married." I said, "Yeah, my wife, Chelsea Blackburn. She's some random lass that we know from Lancaster." I thought she was my wife. I'm not even, I mean, she's all right, but I'm not even particularly attracted to her or anything. And just for some reason, my brain remembered her as my wife. Anyway, a few days after that, I went and did this stand-up show. And it was just tragic. I think I lasted the 5 minutes, not out of it being funny particularly, but just out of, I think people were just like curious, like, where the hell is he going with this? I had this whole bit about, like, oh, it's so crap. About how the bigger the mode of transport, the more people worry about missing it. Like when the taxi pulls up, it's like, oh, yeah, come on, the taxi. And it's the bus. So we run for the bus. That's like a big deal. The train, don't be late for the train, don't miss the train. And then it's the plane. You see people on these airline shows breaking down in the airport, crying. It's this whole big deal. The bigger the mode of transport physically, the more we care about missing it. And so fucking George Carlin. What are you getting at? I didn't really have a punchline. I was just exploring that stupid notion for about 5 minutes. Yeah, definitely no more seeds tonight anyway. I've only just had those 2. And they take a couple of hours to sort of kick in. And yeah, I've already had the previous 4. I'm already sweating. That's enough. That's enough for me. Don't really know what to say because I'm sort of like, on one hand, like I said before, I'm starting to feel a little vulnerable in a nice way, not an anxious way. It's one of the things with LSA, similar with LSD, is it's quite reassuring. Although you kind of start to come apart a little as you connect more, it's almost like there's a hand on your shoulder that's kind of just guiding you. And well, that's how I feel anyway. Everything's going to be okay. I'm starting to feel a little bit like the last time I took LSD, which was a hell of a long time ago, at Eden Festival in Scotland. I was there on my own, just doing solo music and a few poems, and few jokes and stuff. And this guy, he didn't have LSD tabs. He had it in a fucking bottle, liquid form. And he put a load out on my hand, and it goes into your pores anyway. But I was licking it all off, and I kept asking him for a bit more, which was really silly. Um, really silly. We got to this point where we were like sat around the campfire, and I was just like watching the fire right at the flames, and they were all looking like tigers diving out of the fire. That was, cool to see. But I remember we got to this point where I realized I don't know any of these people. I'm like totally alone here. I don't know any of these people. And I kind of started to vibrate and just feel very vulnerable in not a good way, I'd say. And this guy that was next to me was like rubbing my back. He was, just trying to comfort me. And I didn't realize this was happening for a good few minutes. And then I eventually realized this fucking stranger was touching me. Like this fella's rubbing my back. I went, whoa! I said, who the fuck are you? I said, get off! Get off! He said, no, man, I'm just trying to see if you're all right because you're shivering and maybe I was crying or something. I don't know. He said, no, you're all right, mate. You're all right. And I was like, get the fuck away from me. I don't know who you are. He definitely meant well. I felt about that way for maybe an hour and a half, couple of hours. And then after that, it's kind of smoothed down. And I remember everybody else had left the fire. And there was me. And there was this lady sat on the other side of the fire. Quite attractive lady. And she was like doing freestyle poetry. And normally I would have thought this is fucking horribly cringe and not making a lot of sense. But for some reason I was kind of captivated by her. It was very interesting and just like there was no particular narrative to it. She was just sort of saying words that sometimes rhymed or sometimes didn't and describing this kind of whatever she was describing. Anyway, it was really interesting. And I remember flicking through my notebook that I had with me because I had a notebook full of poems that I've been writing. Partly because I was performing them at the festival, and partly because it's just what I like to do sometimes. And I remember reading them back and thinking, the fuck is this? It was just me trying to be funny, but in a very paper thin kind of way. And I thought, oh my God, where am I going with this? What am I trying to say with this? I'm just trying to get people to like me. I'm just trying to entertain for the sake of entertaining, a little bit like this live stream, I suppose. And I started tearing out the pages and throwing them into the fire. And then watching the flames, the tigers that came back that were like leaping out of the fire as I was throwing in my crap poetry. And this lady said, why are you doing that? I said, well, it's very cathartic. It's like shedding your skin. I wasn't trying to get poetic. That's generally how I felt. It's all cringe. The whole poetry thing is cringe, but it's like shedding your skin. I'm getting rid of these old versions of me, these old ideas, casting them into the flames, and hopefully renewing something. Doing something new, becoming something new. Hopefully. I don't know. That was a strange festival. I had way too much of that LSD because I remember on the coach on the way back the following day, sat looking at people's faces and they were all like morphing and changing, and I was sort of thinking, oh God. And I eventually got back home to my flat, and because I'd not been there for about a week, I think I'd left a banana out or something, and there's all these fruit flies. And at the time, it literally felt like walking into a fucking rainforest. It was like a jungle of life. I thought, oh my God, what has my flat become? All these fucking creatures. And it was so overwhelming. I just basically curled up and went to sleep. The next day I woke up fully sober again. And it was just a banana with a few fruit flies around it. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. Just put the banana in the bin, man. Open the window, the flies will go. But at the time, it felt very sort of overwhelming. I think that's one of the things with psychedelics. What it does, it's sort of like the opposite of drinking alcohol. Alcohol numbs the senses, and so you think and feel less. And psychedelics expand the senses, so you can smell more, you can see further, you can hear deeper, you can feel deeper, you can, you know, everything's a bit more profound, which is nice, especially for me. You know, it makes a change. I've been an alcoholic on and off for many, many years. Um, caused nothing but problems, and I'm looking to get out of that. As I mentioned in the previous thing, I've started going to groups again, AA meetings and things to try and rectify this alcoholism. And I just thought this psychedelic intervention of these Hawaiian baby woodrose seeds would be a useful stepping stone along the way. And, you know, who knows? I'm experimenting with sobriety. Not gonna lie, I completely stole that from Doug Stanhope, one of my favourite comedians. In his new special, he talks about these days, you know, I've been experimenting with sobriety. And he made me laugh because I thought that's so me. That's what I've been doing. I've been experimenting with it. But I think it's time to make it the norm. I don't know if I can ever be like a completely 100% sober kind of person. Because one of the things that annoys me about these AA addicts, I'll call them, is sobriety becomes their entire identity. It's like who they are. And it's like it's all consuming. Like I am the sober person. It's like okay. Um, I don't want to. As much as I don't want to erode my identity with alcohol, I also don't want to erode it with sobriety. If that makes any sense. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. It's a difficult one. Uh, yeah, I don't really know what I'm saying. I can feel my stomach starting to. What's that Prince song? Touch if you will, my stomach. Feel how it trembles inside. You got the butterflies all tied up. Don't make me chase you. Even doves have pride. How could you just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Lovely song, that. I love Prince. I love music, but I love Prince. And no, not in a gay way. I think Prince is a cut above when it comes to musicians and artists in general. A hero. Um, I'm sweating slightly less. Um, I certainly don't feel like drinking alcohol, which is low level miraculous for me. You know, it's been all day, and I just couldn't think of anything that I'd less like to do. Um, Partly as my mind is, this is gonna sound cringe, but like opening up a little, and I'm starting to feel a little more. Um, new neurons are connecting that don't normally connect or haven't for a very long time. I've been dormant for many years, and I'm liking it. You know, I'm feeling the opposite of drunk, and the more I get into it, the less I want to feel drunk. If that makes any sense. Also, partially, I'll be completely what's the word? Uh, Forgot the word, but like yeah, I feel a little sick in my stomach, and so the idea of pouring alcohol onto that, nah, not good. Is it time for a cigarette, my friend? Maybe. Where'd you put those fags, fag? Probably in here. Are they? Yeah. I'm also quite bloody tired. I get about 3 hours sleep last night. So I don't know. Try and have an early night, but you know, we'll see how it goes. I always find it very difficult to sleep on anything psychedelic. Even very mildly psychedelic like cannabis. I know people say they smoke weed to help them sleep and stuff. And I used to kid myself that that's what I was doing. But I'd smoke weed and I'd become so interested in just everything and thinking. I would lie in bed, lazy, just enjoying the thoughts and everything and the sensations until that wore off. And once that wore off, then I could sleep. So it was kind of the catch-22, really. Oh, I can't sleep. I'll buy a 20 bag of weed. I buy the 20 bag of weed, and I'm up all night smoking it, thinking and having a nice time. And then once it runs out, then I got to sleep. Silly, very silly. I'm feeling a little bit of a conversational dead end, partly because I'm just like kind of talking to myself, and partly because well, there's so many reasons. I don't entirely know why I'm doing this. The live stream, I mean, I can't remember what initially caused me to want to do it. I think it's just, I like to feel entertaining. I like to feel useful in some way. That's so kind of embarrassing to say, but what's embarrassing? That's not embarrassing to say. What's embarrassing is how unuseful what I'm doing is, and the fact that I would do this to feel in some way useful. Well, I suppose entertainment has its uses. If this has been entertaining in any way, then that's a good thing, I suppose. Um, Possibly not for my ego, but hopefully, we've passed some time in a enjoyable way, hopefully. Uh, but I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of losing a bit of my what to say and why to say it. So I think I need a bit of time just for myself. Um, all right. Anyway, you fuckers. Uh, Again, it's only brief. I haven't live streamed in many, many years. I've done 3 in the last 3 days. Something to do in it. It's fun. Um, I'll speak to you again soon. Perhaps later tonight, but probably not. But yeah, I'll speak to you soon. And I don't know. Thanks for watching, I guess. Hope it's been somewhat enjoyable and not too annoying. And yeah, I'll stop rambling now. Right. Take it easy. Ciao, you motherfuckers. Don't do anything I would. And we do jokes on this show. Not on this particular show, but in general. All right. See you later. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, all in between, welcome. A very huge but grey welcome to you all. It is the 26th of April, I do believe. 2025. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, that's 9. It is a 9 year. It's my year. I'm 9 in numerology, so don't fuck with me. They say a lot of things, don't they? One of the things they say, well, you never know. I hate that phrase. Sometimes you know, all right? Speak for yourself. Maybe you never know. I usually don't know, but sometimes I know. They say in science, they say nature abhors a vacuum. So does my dog. We do jokes on this show, ladies and gentlemen. I was just walking past a shop, right? For real. Near, just kind of around the corner from where I'm at the moment. And it's a vacuum shop. Now, they're not selling vacuum as in the vacuum of space, of course. They're selling Hoovers. They're selling discount Hoovers. And I had a look inside, not because I need a Hoover, or even want a Hoover, but because I thought to myself, they can't only sell Hoovers, right? Like, once you buy a Hoover, you're set for a decade, aren't you? Like, there's only so many people that live around here. Anyone that wants a Hoover has got a Hoover. I thought, what a bad business model to only sell Hoovers. So I went inside thinking, she must also be selling printers and scanners and microwaves and toasters and other stuff, right? Surely. No. Just Hoovers. All Hoovers. And she looked so sad behind the counter. She was just like doom scrolling away on her phone. And I went over. I said to her, I said, "You're right, miss." She said, "Hello." I said, "Hello." I said, "What's business like?" I said, "Is it been busy today?" She went, "No, busy." I said, "Is it usually busy?" And she had the grace and the honesty to go. She said, "No." And I said, "Hey, so business sucks, eh?" Sucks. Hoover. Ah, fuck. Look, forget that one. Look, we do jokes on this show. I didn't say they're going to be all funny. A lot of them are, are like that, unfortunately. It is what it is. So I went to the butcher's and got my weekly supply of carnivorous foods. I got a sirloin, not my weekly supply. I got a sirloin and 2 ribeyes. Lasts me about 2 days, but it's happening. I'm still sticking to the carnivore diet, and so far so good. Feeling better. It's a really good butcher's as well. It's a family butcher's. The meat is great. The lady that works in there happens to be delicious. That I can tell you. I remember the butchers in the city I used to live in was really quite funny. They were Indian fellas. And I walked in there one day. I had these aviator sunglasses on. Right? Aviator sunglasses, just sunglasses, right? And because I had a little bit of a bob kind of haircut at the time, and I'm a white guy, I walked in, just on my own, by the way, and the Indian fella behind the counter, he saw me coming in and he went, "Hey, the Beatles!" The Beatles. Fuck me. Imagine if I'd have walked in and seen him and gone, "Hey, Aladdin!" Right? That'd be racist. I wasn't offended. I just thought it was hilarious. You know what I mean? The Beatles. There's one of me, and whatever. I look nothing like a Beatle. It was the sunglasses and the haircut, and probably the skin. But I do like this new butcher's. I hope never to be barred. Why would you get barred? Why would you get banned from a butcher's? I don't know. But I've been barred from several places in my life. Mostly pubs, nightclubs. There's this nightclub in my old city called Hustle. I got banned from there. I tried to sneak in a couple of weeks later, maybe a month later. And the bouncer stopped me. He put his hand on my chest. I said, "What? Am I still banned?" He said, "Yep. In this life and the next." So even when I reincarnate as, a saint, I'm still not allowed in Hustle. Oh, well, it's shut down now, so fucking jokes on them. Maybe if you'd have come in and let me buy more booze, you'd still be open, fuckers. I got banned from my high school when I was 14. Not banned, I got suspended. I think just for a couple of weeks. Because me and my mate and another mate called Dean, right? We had this game going. Looking at the shit you do when you're 13, 14, right? We had this block, right? There was the downstairs window and the upstairs window. And obviously the downstairs door. It was towards the end of the school day. The plan was, I was to go upstairs to the top floor. I was going to drop my school bag out of the top floor window. Dean was going to run down, kick the door open, and grab my school bag. And apparently people were going to clap or something. I don't know what we were after. But that was the plan. Right? Great minds. And so I'm stood at the window, waiting for the door to open so I can drop my bag to Dean. Anyway, the door starts to open. I see this girl across the yard doing this, saying, no, don't do it. So I assume it's just going to be some kid, just some fucking asshole walking out. So it'll be funny, because I'll drop it and it'll hit the guy, right? So it'll be funny. So I dropped it. Half a second later, I saw this big bald head step out the door carrying these history books. It was only the fucking headmaster. Too late. I've already dropped my bag. Boosh! Straight on top of his big shiny head. He starts to go woozy. I'm thinking, oh, fuck. Because inside my bag are all my school books with my name on it. And that front door is my only way out the building. So there's no escape. There is no escape. I'm doomed. And so I went down, I got halfway down the stairs. I said to my mate Dean, I said, what are you doing? I said, you're supposed to open the door and catch the bag. He said, yeah, but the headmaster was coming with the book, so I helped the door open for him to let him out. I said, well, didn't you think this was going to kind of not only fuck up the plan, but maybe my life? Anyway, the headmaster called me, called my mum in. I got suspended for a couple of weeks. He was under the assumption I'd done it on purpose to mock him and to hurt him, which is crazy. The mocking bit, perhaps, but to hurt him, please. I'm not a violent person. I don't do shit like that. And it was a genuine, honest mistake. But the consequences were... At the time, it felt quite dire. I mean, I wasn't allowed to go to school for 2 weeks. Which on one hand, hey! But on the other hand, I had to be at home for 2 weeks with an angry mum who was pissed off at me for getting suspended. She wouldn't allow me to have my TV, my PlayStation, my phone, nothing. I was grounded. So it was slightly like being in prison for 2 weeks. It wasn't very nice. Anyway, I eventually got back to school and got my round of applause. So all's well that ends well. Did you see Trump introducing the CEO of Pfizer, everyone's favorite devil, right? The fucking jabmeister himself. Trump is so lost at the moment. He doesn't know. I mean, he's got his finger in so many pies. He loses the narrative of why people do and don't support him. He welcomed. He said, "The CEO of Pfizer is here. One of the great guys, one of the great businessmen. Okay, we want to say thank you in a huge way." And because I'm sure the Pfizer guy has endorsed, giving him loads of money to promote the vaccines. So, anyone that gives Trump a load of money, Elon Musk, etc. Great guy, we love that guy, right? And so he's doing his Trump thing. And the crowd, his crowd, all start going, because the Pfizer vaccine has not only injured so many people, it's killed more than enough. And there was the whole time when they were talking about mandating it despite the side effects, etc. It was a horrible time. You remember the COVID times, right? Not good times. By the way, I saw you still see the Asian people sometimes walking around in the face masks. I think they've been doing that in China for a lot of years anyway. So that's not, it's not too strange, is it? But every now and again, I see a white guy, never a black guy or woman, but every now and again I see a middle-aged, middle-class white woman, usually a woman, sometimes a guy, walking around with a face mask in 2025.
And when I say face mask, what other kind of mask is there? A chest mask, an arse mask, a dick mask? No, they are, those things that they wear are surgical masks. But they have to change the terminology to make it more palatable to the useful idiots of the world. If they said, from now on, you all have to wear surgical masks, people kind of would have scratched their head and realized the silliness, the futility, the stupidity of it all. But because they changed the name to face masks, the idiot brain goes, face, mask, oh, mask. That's what you put on your face, right? Oh, this is all normal. And so they just went along with it. Like when they rolled out the vaccines. Oh, they just were rolling them out. Makes it sound like they just let them go at the top of a hill and they just rolled. Oh, it's just nature doing its thing, just rolling along. No! You were mandated. You were told you might lose your job if you didn't take it. Certain people I know were offered money by their employers to take it. There was all sorts of carrots and sticks to get people to take this poison. Yet they were just rolled out. Give me a break. Yeah. We think in words. The establishment know this. The governments know this. The corporations know this. The media know this. So they will use and twist words at every given opportunity to carrot and stick you into the agenda they want you to fall into. Always think about the wording. Terrorists. Who's a terrorist? Whose philosophy is terror? I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to cause terror. Yeah, there are sadists in the world. Psychopathic, murderous sadists, very few and far between. But a whole religion, a whole ideology, a whole culture of terrorists? No. It's a... Beware the words, ladies and gentlemen. Beware the words. Oh, and by the way, you may have noticed I look a little different today than on the previous live streams. It's because I've had a haircut. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, I've had my haircut. I'm feeling pretty swift, pretty suave. I'm feeling full of life, actually. I'm in a great mood today. But yeah, I've let the beard out a little. Had a little haircut, so it is what it is. Right, I'm going to have a smoke and then probably cook one of my steaks. So just thought I'd pop in and say hello. So I've popped in. Hello. And we'll call it a day. Right. Look after yourselves, you bastards. You know I love you. Take care. And just watch the words, all right? Be careful. Oh. You didn't expect me this early. I know. Neither did I. I know I said yesterday, I said I was going to go live and we're going to do an hour. I said it'll be around 7 p.m, somewhere in there, GMT. And that's what I expected I was going to do today because, well, that was the plan. But I'm what's known as a prolific hypocrite. Sometimes I say A and then go on to do B because, I don't know, I'm not to be trusted. And speaking about not to be trusted, who is? I had an appointment. I'm not supposed to be here. I had a long-awaited appointment this morning. Long overdue, long awaited, highly anticipated. And I was really looking forward to getting it over with and putting it behind me. Many, 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 many miles away was this appointment. So I got a taxi to the train station. I then purchased a train ticket for a return journey for today. Spent a small fortune. And as I'm sat on the train, I thought I'll check my emails. So I went to check my emails and I had an email from the people who the appointment was with saying, oh, by the way, don't bother attending today. We've rescheduled your appointment for next week. So I'm a little... Not only because I just wanted to get the thing out of the way with, but I've spent a chunk of money that I don't really have, to be honest.
It's not cheap trying to do this carnivore diet thing as it is, let alone be, spending money on unnecessary journeys. So anyway, I jumped off. I saw this email, jumped off at the first available stop, got the train back home, sat there like a pillock, got off, went back home. So now I'm back home. And I thought, I'm going to go like, we'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly. I thought, let's just do it now because there's no time like the present. So yeah, here I am. How's everybody doing? Hope you're well. You for those of you who are males and have dads, I know that's kind of a rare thing these days, having a dad. But did your dad ever say to you when you were, when you were younger and you were going to meet your girlfriend or you were going on a date or something? I don't know if this is just a my dad thing or like a dad thing in general. But my dad would say, "Give her one from me." And in hindsight, that's disgusting. That's really not on. Especially when you're like, 15, 16 and stuff. You'd go, right, I'm off, I'm going to meet my girlfriend or, I'm dating this girl or whatever. And on the way out the door, you'd go, "Give her one from me." Totally acceptable at the time, and then, just laughed it off. But yeah, in hindsight, that's kind of disgusting. The fuck, Dad? I do love my dad. I get on with him. Yeah, we've had our fair share of fallouts and stuff, but I think, who hasn't? Especially when you get to that age, kind of teenage years. My mum and dad don't live together. They were married for a little while, but that didn't work out. But I would visit him often. And yeah, several times in my teenage years, we had the typical sort of fallouts, if you will. But hey, that's a long time ago. And these days we get on very well. By no means is anyone perfect. And that includes, well, everyone. And one of the keys, if not the key, to being at peace is forgiveness. JLP talks about it all the time. We have to forgive our parents. Now, people hear that and they think it implies that you're saying you've got bad parents. No. Nothing like that. Unless your parents were literally perfect, which is literally impossible, there were things that they did and said that will have irked you, that will have frustrated you, that will have pissed you off, that will have upset you. That's just life. And there's no way around that. There's no way that's not going to occur as you grow up. And people generally harbour those kind of resentments, sometimes small, sometimes bigger, these kind of resentments throughout adult life. And it causes a blockage between you and peace and, relationships with others that you really need to let go of. Forgiveness is so huge, so important. And forgiveness, ultimately, it aids the forgiver. It's not about the forgiver. Like if someone's wronged you in a big, bad way, forgiving them doesn't imply that you then have to go and hang out with them and be their best friend. No, you can never see him again. You can never speak to him again if you don't wish to. But to harbour resentments is only affecting you negatively. What's the old saying? Being angry at someone is literally like, well, not literally, but metaphorically, is like drinking poison and expecting it's going to affect them. It isn't. Anger, resentment, hatred, all those kind of things. You think you're getting back at the person, you're really just getting at yourself. So forgiveness is crucial. Where did that come from? I don't know. There's no particular theme for this show. I just said that I would go live and, I'll try and do an hour. and make it more of a show. I forgot my juggling balls, and I'm not currently on my unicycle, but I think you can do a show with words, right? I'd have to dance for you people. I'm not a dancing monkey. That's partly sweat and partly I washed my hair and didn't dry it properly. So, but fucking hell, look at my face, like a bloody tomato. A face that could stop traffic. Uh, there was a blog once. Look, I'm gonna like this fact. It's annoying me. Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, there was a bloke who existed who he was just a head. Literally, he was just a head. He had no body, no arms, no legs. He was just a head. And his dad said to him one day, he said, you should come for a pint with me. And the head fella goes, I don't particularly fancy that, to be honest, but go on then. What else am I going to do? I'm only a head. Fuck it, let's go for a pint. So they went for a pint. He finishes his pint and he grows a body. He can't believe it. He says, flipping it, I think I'll have another. So he has a second drink, sprouts some arms. He says, fucking hell, I like where this is going. So he has a third pint. And after the third pint, he grows some legs. He's thinking, fuck, this is brilliant. He was so excited, in fact, he ran out into the road, he got hit by a car and he died. He should have quit while he was ahead. Right? We do jokes on this show. We do jokes. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the this might turn some people off, might turn some people on. I don't really, it is what it is. I want to talk about the flat Earth thing because I'm confused at the moment. I'm thoroughly confused. If you'd have asked me 2-3 years ago, I'd have said the Earth's flat, without a doubt. I was balls deep in it at the time. Eric Dubay, David Weiss, Jeranism, Whitsitt. I was following all that stuff, and maybe you're completely new to the topic, know nothing about it, but believe it or not, there are some great arguments, some great arguments. Personal favourites being that water always seeks its level and never conforms to the exterior of an object, and also that we see too far. There's so many long distance photography shots and things that have happened where people can see things on cameras and with telescopes, which, according to the Earth curve calculations, should be hidden. They should be behind the curve. Yet people can zoom in and see things that they shouldn't be able to see. And yeah, 2-3 years ago, I would have said without a shadow of a doubt, the Earth is flat. As I believe described in the Bible, biblical cosmology, right? Hebrew cosmology even. 8 years ago, if you'd have asked me, I'd have said 100% a globe. What the hell's wrong with you? Why would you even ask such a thing? The Earth is round, I would have said. Which is a slightly misleading word because whether flat or spherical, it's still round, right? A pizza is round and flat. A coin is round and flat. A plate is round and flat. The word is spherical. So it's not flat or round. It's flat or spherical. And by flat, obviously, I don't mean flat, right? There are mountains, there are peaks and valleys. I mean a level, unmoved, topographical plane. Plane, planet without the T, which I always used to think when NASA would say T-1. What's the T minus about? Taking the T off planet? You saying it's a plane, nigga? But recently, as you may or may not know, things have come to light, such as what's known as the final experiment, where a group of flat earthers and globe earthers went down to Antarctica to try and observe the 24-hour sun, which many flat earthers had previously said that if there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, it's a nail in the coffin for the flat earth theory. It means it's a globe. And lo and behold, there was a 24-hour sun. And people have come forth since explaining how that can work with a firmament model. But I'm lost on that one. I'm sorry. Because that disappoints both camps. There's the flat people who want me to say, oh yeah, it's flat. And then there's the old people who would want me to say, why would you even consider it being flat? You idiot. So I'm annoying both sides, as I, often tend to do. And I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm genuinely confused on the issue these days. I mean, there's so much evidence of NASA and co faking space travel, the ISS, CGI glitches, all kinds of things. There's videos where you can literally see the wires and the harness and stuff. I 100% do not believe the moon landings. I'm definitely still there. I mean, the idea that they used a computer with less computing power than a Game Boy Color to launch people to the fucking moon in 1969, and then received a telephone call on a landline from Richard Nixon. Absolutely not. He goes, Neil and Buzz, because of what you have done, the heavens are now a part of man's world. And I always found that quote very suspect. The heavens are now a part of man's world. I don't think so. And then you see the press conference when they supposedly come back from the moon, and they sat there like sulking like the fucking dog's just been shot, looking all depressed. And if I'd just been to the moon and I was the first man on the moon and I was walking on the moon and shit, I'd come back fucking bouncing. I'd be telling everyone about it. I'd be doing every interview going. Buzz Aldrin became a drunk. Neil Armstrong became a total recluse, didn't give any interviews, just disappeared into obscurity, as did pretty much Michael Collins. And then if you see, who we got here? Hey, good morning. Good morning, Alyssa Trez. Morning. Bart Sibrel's documentary. He's got a few great documentaries, but Astronauts Gone Wild, my personal favorite, where he tracks down every astronaut who allegedly went to the moon, walked on the moon, interviews them and asks them to swear on the Bible that they walked on the moon, and they all freak out. Many of them run away, like literally run away. Buzz Aldrin punched him in the mouth, quite famously. Astronauts Gone Wild, Bart Sibrel. If you've not seen that documentary, you need to see it. It's amazing. Amazing. Oh yeah, I told you in the other thing about that time I got suspended from school for dropping that bag out of the top floor window. My mate was supposed to catch it, but it hit the headmaster in the head. Bit of a long story, but it was a genuine mistake. But it looked quite malicious, and I was suspended for a couple of weeks. There was another time I remember. I can't remember if I was suspended or not. I think I was for maybe just a matter of days or something. And this was another mistake. Well, it wasn't my fault. Here's what happened. For some reason, there was a shopping trolley in the staff car park, right? For some reason. We were on our dinner break. Me and my best mate at the time, Josh Starr, legend, we were walking through the car park, and these lads, all the lads from in the same year as us, they came up to me. They went, "Oh, Dean, you'll do it." He said, "Get in this trolley."
and we're going to push you around, you know, in this trolley. And being just a naive idiot who just likes, I don't know, attention or whatever, I went, yeah, I'll do it. I got in the trolley, and Josh Starr was telling me, he said, my mate was saying, Dean, come on. He said, don't do it. He said, we've got hijinks to be had in the library. What are you doing getting in this trolley? So I got in the trolley, and the running, you know, pushing this trolley with me quite fast. And then the guy lets go, and the trolley goes spinning down, you know, the car park, smash right into the side of one of the staff cars. It was the caretaker's car. It leaves a big dent in his door. I freak out, jump out the trolley, leg it from the scene of the crime, and as I'm legging it, I hear the deputy headmaster in the background shout, Dean! I was collared. Anyway, I got, you know, hauled in, interviewed, and what have you. And I had to pay for the door to be fixed, even though it wasn't me. I was in the trolley. But what about the guys pushing it? What about the guys that pushed it into the car? Where's their punishment? Nothing happened to them. Life's an unfair funfair. Life's an unfair funfair. Pull up in my underwear. Slay anyone who dare. Say I need to cut my hair. I got a suffragette gushing over the stuff I said. I'm in your mother's bed reading books and receiving head. So there was that. I shouldn't have got in that trolley. I should have gone with my mate Josh Starr to the library to cause hijinks, because we had a lot of fun in that library. I remember one day it's a classic gag, it's nothing special, you know, an open Coke can, and we put it at the top of the library door so that the next person that walked in would get hit with an open Coke can and, you know, covered in Coca-Cola. Funny, right? Especially when you're like 13 or something. So I opened the Coke can, put it at the top of the door, and my luck being my luck in this unfair funfair, who walks in next? It wasn't a kid. It was my English teacher. She opens the door. The Coke can falls down. It lands upside down in a cleavage. Glug, 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 glug. All this Coke starts soaking her, basically. And everyone in the library, like, gasps, laughs, you know, screams, and all look at me. I'm trying to act nonchalantly, and everyone else is literally staring at me. So it was so obvious it was me. And I was hauled in again. She took me to my head of year at the time, who has since been jailed for necrophilic and bestiality and paedophilic images. That's another story. But we liked him. He was all right at the time. Well, we thought so. Anyway, she takes me to him, covered in this fucking Coca-Cola, drags me into his office and says, explain to Mr. Rafferty what you've just done. So I told him the story, and he burst out laughing. Very unprofessional. He burst out laughing. And she was going, Mr. Rafferty, this is no laughing matter. This is a serious incident. I could have been injured. So he stopped laughing, made me apologize, and I did. You know, I was sorry, you know. I didn't mean for that to happen, exactly. Hey, those were the days. My mate Josh Starr. Not seen him since school. Not once. Never heard from him. Never heard of him. Which is kind of crazy, because at one point we were together literally every day causing mischief. I'd always get in my packed lunch, my mum would always put in like an apple or an orange, you know, some piece of fruit. And I never would eat that because I was 13, I didn't like fruit. And so what the apple was for every day was, Josh had a very, very good throwing hand. He was a very strong player for his age, and he could throw stuff very, very hard, very fast, very far. And he'd use the apple or the orange or whatever it is, and we'd find like an active classroom with an open window, and he'd throw the apple in at the window. It would hit the ceiling,
and splat on the ceiling, and then all over everyone in the class, and we'd hear the gasps and the shrieks, and then we'd run away thinking we were great. Josh Starr, what a guy. He was more the ideas man, and I was sort of the fall guy. I would tend to do the things and get in trouble, and he was more sort of the mastermind behind it all. Sneaky bastard. We had this one where the police came to give a talk in the library to the younger kids, and it's like the back of the library, it was all windows. The entire wall was just windowed. And so as the police were giving the talk to these kids, we got these massive sheets of paper from the art block, and we wrote offensive things. I can't remember what we wrote. It wasn't just swear words, it was some offensive message. And we thought it was foolproof, because we thought, what we'll do, we'll hold these things in front of us so it covers the face, and then we'll walk by the window like this. So all the kids will see the offensive language, they'll laugh, it'll cause a scene, and they won't know it's us, because we've got this big piece of paper in front of our face. It's foolproof. What can go wrong? And so we did that. Brilliant. Worked a charm. There was uproar. The kids were laughing. The teachers were panicking. It was perfect. Little did we realize, at this back wall of the library, there was a CCTV camera literally pointing right at us. So even though they can't see who we are, because we've got these big sheets of paper in front of our faces, the camera quite clearly identifies us. Me, Josh Starr, and Mark Wakefield, I believe. Mark Wakefield, he was another one. This is one of the worst things we did. In the art block, people had they made these clay models for like their GCSE thing or whatever. These I think they were like heads, like busts, people's head. They've made it out of clay. And this was more him than me, to be fair. He'd go in with a rolling pin, just smash them. He got caught doing that, but you know how he got away with it? The luck of some people. One of the things that he'd smashed open, inside of it was the teacher's wedding ring. She thought she'd lost the wedding ring all this time. And because my mate, being an arsehole, smashed this bust, this clay head, it exposed the fact that her wedding ring was inside of this clay bust. So she found her wedding ring. So she was so grateful and thankful. And so he completely got off with it and never got in trouble. Fuck's sake. Sometimes people are just lucky. I don't know, man. I'm hit and miss. I sometimes like to refer to myself as the luckiest man alive, because in many ways I am. I'm a very grateful person, and in many ways I am very lucky, but in a lot of ways I'm very, very unlucky. I had this girlfriend who, I call her the witch. Not because, not being rude. She's a Wiccan. She was a white witch lady. I was seeing her for not even very long. It was only a matter of weeks, I think. And then, try and cut a long story short, one day when we broke up, she'd invited me round to hers, like any normal day. And when I got there, she introduced me to her new boyfriend. Right? I'm looking at him like, who the fuck are you? And he's looking at me like, who the fuck are you? We were both like, what the hell's happening? Anyway, he passed me a joint. Nice gesture. I had a couple of toots. And she was complaining at me. Complete lies. She was saying, oh, Dean, last night you were around here and you were throwing glass bottles at my patio door and you were so frightening. And I said, are you out of your mind? that didn't happen. She was saying it in front of him to try and generate some kind of scene. I said, there's no way that happened. I said, if anyone was to throw an empty glass bottle at that patio door, it would smash. Believe me. And she said, no, you were doing it all night, Dean. You were throwing glass bottles at my patio door. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, why don't you go outside into your recycling bin, get one of these glass bottles, these empty Budweiser bottles, throw it at the door, and let's see what happens. Because I'm telling you now, it'll smash if anyone wants to do that. She went, right, okay, I'll prove it. She went into the recycling, pulled out this empty glass bottle. Hits the patio door, the whole thing shatters. Both panels, the entire thing shatters into a fucking million pieces. Oh, vindicated much? She comes storming back into the house, grabs this new boyfriend by the scruff of his neck, pulls him in and goes, why didn't you stop me, Sam? Why didn't you stop me? Bish, bash, bosh. Sometimes in life you're vindicated. Sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you're unlucky. Life's an unfair, fun fair. Pull up in my underwear. Slay anyone who dare says I need to cut my hair. I got a suffragette gushing over the stuff I said. And I'm in your mother's bed reading books and receiving head. That's one of my old songs. What song is that? Vitamin D, it's called. I did a version of it solo. But the best version is one I recorded with two mates. We formed a little rap group for the sake of one album. We called Free the Hard Way, and that track is called Vitamin D. Vitamin D, Free the Hard Way. Check it out. It's still on Spotify and it's on this channel and it's you know, wherever you might stream. Good song. Rather humorous. What else? Oh, yeah. I never, ever buy newspapers. What's these comments? Wowzers. Was Josh Kinazi, by chance, a juicy ice? I don't understand. Sorry, Melissa. I do not understand that question. Perhaps rephrase. Anyway, I knew I'd be going live, and so I just thought, let's do something I've not done in maybe 15 years. I bought a newspaper. Remember these old relics? Well, apparently they still exist. I stole this from the museum. No, I didn't. I purchased it from Morrison's. And I've not looked at it yet, and I just thought, you know, what the hell? We'll have a look at it and go through what crap they are pumping out today. William and Kate returned to the Scottish island of Mull yesterday on their 14th wedding anniversary. The Fun Packs trip saw them help DIY, try whiskey and haggis in Tobermory, where a local told fellow cancer survivor Kate, well done, girl. The news, ladies and gentlemen. The fuck? The news. That's the front page. The fucking couple went on holiday, tried haggis, and someone said, well done, girl. This is the news. Crucial stuff. Oh, I see we're still doing page 3. Although in my day, when I was a kid, page 3 was always tats. These girls are wearing bikinis. I thought they put a stop to it altogether because it was sexist, racist, misogynistic, homophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic. But apparently they haven't put a stop to it. What they've done is they've clothed the ladies. Loophole. Yeah. More about William and Kate. The Spice Girls. The Spice Girls are set to reunite to mark the 30th anniversary of their first hit. Jerry Horner, formerly Jerry Halliwell, and the band are back in touch blah, blah, blah. Wasn't that lovely? Picture of Nigel Farage holding a pint. The obligatory Nigel Farage holding a pint picture. It wouldn't be a tabloid without one of those. 3 people killed in a Sweden shooting. Makes a change from America. Some stuff about Beyonce. Beyonce's incredible. And there's a picture of her stood atop a golden bull. That's Baal, right? That's literal satanic symbolism. In your face. More bollocks. High treason. They've cut down a big tree. The sycamore gap tree stood proud over Hadrian's Wall for over 100 years. It was felled in 2 minutes 41 seconds by chuckling idiots with chainsaw, jury told. Well, it's not every day you read about chuckling idiots with chainsaws, but that's a headline I can appreciate. Chuckling idiots with chainsaws. Phew, what a dangerous thought. Anyway, that's the news. Fuck the news. I mean, I've always taken the news with a pinch of salt, just from being born. I don't know, I have this inherent skepticism, especially when it comes to certain types of authority. But these days, the news I take with a skipful of salt. It's literally, have you ever seen the meme? Hello, welcome to BBC 6 o'clock news. Here's what we want you to think this evening. That's all it is. It's literal programming. And I know it's an old cliche, but the television that's telling you a vision, they literally call it television programming. It couldn't be more clear. Everything from, like they say, soap operas are based on real life. No. People base their real lives on the soap operas. Life imitates art, I believe, not the other way around. Television programming is no joke. The establishment media, I believe I coined that phrase on Twitter many years ago, establishment media, because that's what it is. It's not mainstream, certainly not these days. Who watches TV? Very, very old people and very, very, very young kids, which is a problem. I remember when I was a very, very, very young kid, for some reason, I was always captivated by the adverts. And my grandparents figured this out. And so they had a VHS tape. Remember those things? And every time the adverts would come on, they would record it. And they filled up an entire VHS tape, an hour and a half, however long it lasts, 2 hours, I can't remember. Just adverts. And whenever I was being a bit hyper or whatever, they needed me to calm down. Or maybe they just couldn't be arsed with me. They would play this VHS tape. And it was just hours and hours of adverts. And I would sit captivated. We're talking 3 years old, 4 years old, maybe 5 years old. Just watching adverts all day. Now that must have done some kind of damage. The subliminal programming, the subliminal messaging that happens in adverts, that they appeal to your root chakra, lowest kind of things. The professionals behind advertising are literal hypnotists. And to think that I spent so many hours of my early life watching nothing but adverts. That's probably not healthy. Now, my grandparents they had no idea. They just thought, well, he finds it entertaining. It keeps him quiet. He seems to enjoy it. They meant well. It was a nice gesture. But probably didn't Probably didn't do me the world of good in the long run. Um, I was going to talk about Ben Lowry briefly, but I can't be asked because Ben Lowry is literally the world's most boring man. Go watch his. He does live streams and podcasty thing. I've been on his podcast, I think 4 times, many moons ago. But he still does regular kind of videos, updating you on his life and what he's up to. So just go and watch some of that stuff. My God, what a materialistic, ego-driven, boring baldy. Um, oh, do I want to tell you that story? Oh, sorry. I was once very, very lonely, rather drunk, and a little horny, dare I say. And I invited this. There was this lady, or so I thought, who'd liked me for years, and she happened to be online on Facebook. So I thought, literally, I thought, okay, invited her over, and we'd agreed to meet at this particular place in town, nearish my house. And on the way there, she messaged me. She said, "I'll be there in about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just going to pick up some crack." I just laughed. I thought that was hilarious because I thought, well, obviously she's joking, right? She's not picking up crack. I thought, what is wrong with you? But anyway, well, whatever. Anyway, it turned out she wasn't joking. Within not long of being at mine, she whipped out this. No, what are you thinking? She whipped out this crack pipe and someone was cracking it up in my front room. I was like, whoa! I was so drunk, and yeah, I just whatever. I rolled with it. Anyway, one thing leads to another, and we're getting a little physical and stuff, and she's kissing me, and I just couldn't shake the notion. I couldn't help but I was just like, this is a dude, a big jaw, Adam's apple, big hands, quite tall, kind of deepish voice. I was like, this is a dude. This is not what I signed up for. This is not on. And I don't know how I would have dealt with this normally, but because I was, a bit drunk, I just came out with it. I said, listen, don't be offended, but I have to ask you, you are a woman, right? And she was well offended and said, yeah. I said, no, I mean, were you born female? That's my question. She was like, yeah. In hindsight, if it was a woman and it just happened to be a slightly butch woman, then I feel fucking terrible. I mean, how offensive. But I was very, very, very suspicious. Tried to ask this person to leave several times in a kind of polite way, but she was not having it. Insisted on staying. So I was like, okay, you can stay. She stayed on the kitchen floor while I went to bed. You've not coming in my bed. You've probably got a penis. So I went to bed. I'm lying there, all night with one eye open, just waiting to hear the front door go for this person to leave. Eventually, at some point the following afternoon, I heard the door go. This person left. And I was just like, God, that was one of the most awkward nights of my life. And a few days later, I saw her in my local corner shop. I was in there buying, I don't know, beers, whatever I was buying. And I saw her and I thought, shit. So I hid behind the birthday card stand. But she was chatting away to the shopkeeper for going on and on and on. I was thinking, fucking hell, get out of here so I can buy my stuff. And she eventually did. And I went and, bought my stuff surreptitiously. Is that the word? I don't know. Nonchalantly. And then I got out of there. And I thought, I was talking to my mate about it. I think it was Ben Lowry at the time, actually. He said, what are you going to do if you run into her on the street and there's no birthday card stand to hide behind? I said, I'll fake a seizure. That's what I'll do. Because I'm not having that conversation. That's too awkward. That's too just embarrassing or something. I said, I'm not having that conversation. I will fake a seizure. I will drop to the ground and I will start. That's what I'll do. Fuck having that conversation. What do you think about Prince and Rue's whistleblower offing herself? Virginia Giuffre, is it? Yeah, I think it's highly suspicious. I mean, come on. I've not looked into it a lot, to be quite honest, but I know that, what was it? She was hit by a bus, right? Or involved in some kind of serious bus accident. And she recovered. And she said, I'm glad to have recovered. I'm happy to be alive. I'm grateful to be alive. And then, what, a week later, a couple of weeks later, she commits suicide. Yeah. She was what they call suicided, right? I'm almost certain. I mean, like I say, I haven't looked into it extensively, but it fucking stinks. You accuse the royal family of that level of criminality. Look, the way it works in the UK, the royal family can't go to jail. They cannot be prosecuted. Very, very few people understand this. The police, when they swear their oath, it's to the crown, it's to the queen or king, to the monarchy. Judges themselves, they all want knighthoods. They swear an oath to the crown. They're seeking knighthoods. They're not going to prosecute anyone from the family to which they swear an oath to. That's just not how it goes. The royal family can literally get away with anything, legally speaking. Karmically, nobody gets away with anything. But legally speaking, in this country, they can get away with anything. And they do. And have done for many, 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 many years. There was an article once in the Daily Mail. It said, royal family eat human flesh and drink human blood. But don't worry, it was over 200 years ago. About some occultic practice that used to happen within the royal family centuries ago. Now, if there's one thing I know about the royal family, it's that they believe in tradition. They have traditions, they have rituals, and they keep them up throughout time. But don't worry, it was centuries ago. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they don't do any. Now they're all just like nice, clean-shaven, sweet people, right? I don't think so. I am beyond suspicious of the royal family and what they get up to. Believe me. Yeah, poor Virginia. I think she's been killed. I think, allegedly, just for YouTube terms of whatever service is it? What do they call it? I don't know, but yeah, I don't want to be getting my channel banned for my loose lips. I'm just speculating. I'm just spitballing. I've got a few other things written down that I was going to talk about, but I don't really want to talk about any of them, to be quite honest. So yeah. I refuse to endorse the Blue Man Group. Not until they hire an orange man and a purple woman. We do jokes on this show. We do jokes. I was speaking to a lady in a nightclub once. She said, I wouldn't sleep with you if you were the last man on earth. I said, well, if I'm the last man on earth, who the hell's going to stop me? We do jokes. We do jokes on this show. We do jokes. I said to her, how tall are you? She goes, I'm 5'2", but I'm 5'6" in heels. I said, well, what's that got to do with it? I can run the 100 metres in fucking 13 seconds, but, you know, give me a motorbike, I'll do it in 4. I asked you your height, not your personal best. What time are we on here? I was at you from Texas? Cool. Do you have the this is probably a silly question, but do you have the accent? I love the Texan accent. Are you what they call a Southern Belle? I'd like to think there's a Southern Belle watching me on my live stream. That's quite exciting. I can't see how long I've been live. It's not telling me. It doesn't matter really. It's just I said I'd do an hour, and I'm kind of running out of. I'm running out of gas. I've got a bunch of stuff there that I don't really want to talk about. I guess I could talk about. No, I can't. I will. I certainly will, but at the moment I can't. Is there anything else in the news? Look at Farage's fucking face holding that pint. What a lemon. Three killed in Sweden. Beyonce doing satanic shit. Picture of David Beckham for some reason. Chuckling idiots with chainsaws. Yeah. You won't believe this headline. What the fuck? I'm going to have to show you because you're not going to believe it. The night I ate Jeremy Clarkson's brains. So for one thing, he's got more than one brain, apparently. Interesting. This guy ate what? Snail caviar, pig uterus, and crispy fried squirrel. Welcome to the madcap menu that Jeremy Clarkson says is the future. They're eating crispy fried squirrel, crispy fried pig uterus, Cotswold snails, and lamb's brains. Oh, it's Jeremy Clarkson's menu that the guys are eating, which includes brains. Who's this? Got someone at the door, right? I have to call it a day. Thanks for watching. Speak to you later. Are we on? Are we live? Oh, what a mess. Early May 2025. What a time to be alive. What a time to be this guy. This guy or the sky. What did Jimi Hendrix sing in Purple Haze? Was it "Excuse me while I kiss the sky"? Or was it "Excuse me while I kiss this guy"? We'll never know. Yeah, I'm slightly pissed off because I've had to attend this appointment again today. All in all, spent 30, 50, 53 quid in travel. And I got there and I was told, oh, our apologies, someone should have told you not to attend today because we're still not ready. We're talking nearly 100 quid in the space of a week to this fucking damn appointment that they keep telling me, oh no, it's been rescheduled. Well, why didn't you let me know sooner? Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. If your dad doesn't say Jeez Louise, by the way, is he even a dad? All dads need to say Jeez Louise. I'm not a dad that I know of. But Jeez Louise. I'm irritated. I'm alright. Like, I'm happy, but I'm angry, if that makes any sense. I'm not sad. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. I'm not offended. I'm just mad. I hate letdowns. I'm always, almost always early to every appointment. And if I'm not going to be there, I will let folks know in due course, always, every time. It's just in my nature. So to have spent all that money on sweet FA is, yeah, kind of frustrating. Oh, and speaking of giving a shit, this morning I came out my house and there's a fucking toilet. Someone's left a toilet in the street. Like, just not like an outdoor public toilet, no, a toilet. He's like right there in the middle of the street. So I, you know, did the right thing, took a shit in it. And no, I didn't take a shit. I should have done. And then the train was cancelled. Oh, and then the taxi took me to the wrong place. So we had to go all around the houses back to the right place. That cost an extra 15 quid. Ah, shut up, man. Stop bitching. I'm just bitching. Just moaning. Bitch, moaning, complaining. Well, it's good to vent. Sometimes, you know. It's good to vent. Look at my double chin. Jesus. It's getting crazy. Yeah, well, I'm currently at the train station again, waiting for my train back home. Well, that's about it, really. Oh, I picked up the Metro, the free newspaper, because sometimes it's good to have something to sort of fall back on when you run out of shit to say. So let's see what's in the news. Sci-Fi Heart Scans has saved the NHS £9.5 million. 3D heart scans have saved the NHS £9.5 million since their introduction in 2021, figures show. Okay, well that's just good. That's good news, if that's true. Can't really argue with that. Spiteful drivers throw their cig butts at bikers. Hey, that rhymes. Spiteful bikers throw cig butts at bikers. Bars, mate. Fire Death Teen Fund hits 14k as tributes pour in. There's no joke to be had there. Guy died in a fire, for God's sake. I don't really know what the £14,000 is supposed to contribute to the loss of a son, brother, nephew, but there you go. Apparently money's everything these days. He says, after bitching about money. It's not just the money, it's the time wasted and it's the expectation not being met. You know, when you plan for something, and I wouldn't say I was looking forward to it, I was looking forward to putting it behind me, that's for sure. And then it just gets delayed again. Okay, now. What else have we got in the news? The Money Problem by Sarah Davidson. Ooh. Phone thieves drained my £10,000 wedding fund, but my bank is saying it's all my fault. Well, the bank fucking would say that, wouldn't he? Anyway, that's the news. Welcome to the 2 p.m. news with myself, Mr. Dean. Here's what we want you to think. Life is good, things are on the up and up, and, you know, whatever. Just thought I'd kill some time while I wait for this train. Yeah, right, I'll get out of here. Right, take care of yourself. Don't do anything I would. You know I love you. We don't always do jokes on this show, but sometimes we do. Anyway, today has been a joke. Amazing. All right, goodbye.